If we take a look back on the history of FPV, there have always been sort of ambassadors to the hobby. Friendly faces that you'd see pop up all the time on YouTube, friendly smiles that would take you through their day, and now and then they'd have a product that they'd show you that they actually really used and liked, and oh look at that, there's an affiliate link to the product. If you use this thing that I use, I make a small commission, but it's good, so you should use it. And right on, I see you use that in all your videos, you should get a little commission from that because that's a good product. But as FPV grew, things got a little less wholesome, and now we find ourselves in a swamp of affiliate links and sponsored content. Something that was usually reserved for the more mainstream hobbies has now crept its way into our once intimate hobbyist space. And now we really do have to ask ourselves how genuine some of these personalities are. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the rise of FPV influencers. I started flying FPV in 2016, which is 1 year after Rotor Riot published their very first video. Back then it was Steel, Final Glide, Umagod, and the legendary Sharpoo, and that was some of the funnest content I'd seen. RC parts aside, that was just good content. All the hosts felt like really cool people that you'd want to hang out with in real life. They had really helpful tutorials, super creative challenges, and some damn good content, you know? It really showed in the video that the crew genuinely just enjoyed hanging out, having fun, and making videos. Skip ahead a few years and the company sold due to the original investors pulling out, so they opened an online shop to generate income using the YouTube channel as a vessel to drive traffic to the store. And there's nothing wrong with that. They had some really good content at the time. It was fun to watch. They offered some decent products. But with that money running out, the once vibrant cast was reduced to flying in parking lots and fields rather than mountaintops in Hawaii or diving radar towers in Chernobyl. This shift from grand adventures to trying to sell you hype train motors in a parking lot was a huge shift for the show. Some of the original cast left to be replaced with people whose personalities aligned more with the new direction of the company. Many people consider this the moment that the YouTube channel itself changed from a bunch of light-hearted, goofy friends having fun to a strictly capitalist venture. Also, I was on the team for like 6 months, but it was awkward as fuck. I mean, I had a good time, but fucking look at me. So now we have a precedence for the first real FPV influencers taking hold. Some of the cast went on to do their other ventures, like Sharpoo being an animator at fucking DreamWorks. Some of the other pilots went on to focus on their channels and monetizing them that way, and then Umagod just started his own fucking company. By this point in time, you can make some money flying FPV. Not a whole lot, but people were getting their rent paid, and they were getting some pretty hefty sponsor boxes out of it. I think the community saw this shift in content and direction from all corners of the FPV spectrum. So at this point, folks were actively trying to make a living through FPV. And back then, the only two ways to really do that were either being like a top racer, or you had to make YouTube videos and do affiliate links or ad revenue. For the most part, you didn't see too many ads disguised as content, and people didn't really use a whole lot of affiliate links. You didn't really see like the wall of text that you see now. You really only saw the main hardware that people use, like their exact quad and their goggles and everything, and you'd be hard pressed to find channels pushing really bad budget bind and flies like Darwin or something. You'd only have, that was reserved for maybe like the bigger channels. You didn't have everybody trying to sell you one. And back then it wasn't much of an issue because there wasn't that much money in it, you know what I mean? It just wasn't there. So people, I feel like they spoke a little bit more freely about products. Nowadays you'll have somebody do a review and it's fairly neutral and they'll be like, if you like it, here's an affiliate link below. Whereas back then they'd be like, this kind of sucks, but I'm obligated to put the link down there because I got it for free. So good luck, you know? It's a little different now. People are afraid of getting cut off, I think.
Not so for you! Come back! 1 year!
Even though money was coming in, FPV was still relatively small, so it would have been career suicide just to make a channel where you push, you know, the shitty bind and fly of the week on everybody. The community is pretty small and word gets around quick, and you can develop a bad reputation if you do that shit too much. By now, I feel like most of y'all know my thoughts on DJI, but if you don't, here's a TLDR. Video system aside, they're a pretty nasty multi-billion-dollar corporation owned by a world government. And they do have a lot of baggage behind them, including human rights violations and some pretty anti-competitive practices. And due to them phoning home to servers in China with data they collect, they're all but banned in many countries in every market except for the consumer one. Now don't get it twisted, I hate governments, I love people, China's cool as fuck. I'm just against oppressive governments collecting data on people without their consent. USA, Google, you know, it's all the same shit. Now that that's cleared up, DJI introduced their FPV system in March of 2001. Are you fucking kidding me? That was only 3 years ago. When the system first came out, it was still pretty common to have the dividing line between hardcore FPV pilots and aerial photography pilots who usually flew DJI. A lot of FPV pilots wouldn't be caught dead flying anything DJI, since for the previous 15 years, they were just known as that shitty cloner company that cloned other people's drones and sold them at a markup. But people newer to the scene didn't know that. They just saw a shiny new analog system and were like, fuck yeah, let's go fly some FPV. Some folks did know, but they didn't really care. They just wanted to get off analog and try something new. But now all those DJI bros that exclusively flew aerial photography drones now had an entry point into FPV. You didn't have to know how to solder or build anything, or use that annoying beta flight program that kept drones out of the hands of so many reckless pilots. Any jerk with $1,000 can now just go down to Best Buy, order off the internet an FPV kit, and be airborne within an hour. After sending all your data to home servers in China, of course. With this rise in popularity, the DJI shills now had an in to an entirely new market. And with new FPV products coming out every single day, the market was ripe for the plunder. Just shoot off a few emails, show those companies your subscriber count, boom, it's on. Free drones. That somehow are every single time the best budget drone you can buy, until next video that is. But don't forget to use my links below to buy anything from diapers to new car tires. And I personally recommend all 478 drones linked below. Now just so it's clear, I'm not talking about anybody that flies DJI. I would never give you shit for trying to find a slice of happiness in this fucked up world. You know what I mean? You do you. You fly what you want to fly. You have fun. I'm just kind of talking about there is some you can't choose where your money goes and which companies to support, is all I'm going to say on that. I'm not even talking about any channels using affiliate links or anything. There's nothing inherently wrong with that if you actually like a product to recommend it and make some money off of that. I'm not talking about anybody legit just trying to pay rent for their families through YouTube. Like, do you, boo. That's what I do. I get that I get the hustle. You know what I mean? I understand. I'm talking about the big guys, the ones that already got it good, the ones that'll take commissions on sales and do sponsored videos while knowing full well how shitty of a company DJI is, or knowing full well how shitty of a fucking product it is that they're pushing. It's just kind of wild to me that somebody whose entire livelihood is dependent on new tech coming out would chill for a company who's well known to squash competitors, squash new tech coming to market, or push just some shitty no-name clone brand aerial photography drone for what, a 5% affiliate commission? What are you gonna make, $12 or a free drone? Is that really worth it? Now, I'm not on the TikToks, I'm barely on Instagram, but in researching this video, I looked up FPV drones on TikTok. And boy, I was ready to be outraged. I had my little typing fingers all lubed up. I was gonna tear FPV a fucking new asshole. But the top videos in my searches were all freestyle, all badass content, all super sick, like bando shredding videos with millions of views. That was pretty cool to see, man. I was expecting like, your average snowy mountaintop cruise or some drift car chasing or something like that, but this was some like hardcore motherfucking freestyle. There was some really good shit in there. Good on you. Good on you, TikTok FPV kids. I'm proud of you. Instagram was decent too, but I didn't have to go too far before I found an ad for those shitty white avatar goggles that nobody bought. There's definitely way more ads disguised as posts on Instagram versus TikTok, but I didn't really see too many like just one person trying to shill you stuff. You know what I mean? It was a lot of companies. Until I typed in, you guessed it, DJI FPV. Then came the flood of those ultra bokeh shots of a quad flying in the air, snowy mountaintops, and what's this? A drone chasing a drift car? How the fuck does that even keep up with it? Okay, let's take a look at YouTube. Oh, before I forget, Alvi FPV makes these fucking fantastic videos on YouTube called Who Can You Trust in FPV. He's done a few of them. I think they're really well done. I'm in one of them. I think you can trust me is what he said. But hey, Alvi, if you're watching this, you should do more of those. I did enjoy those videos. Searching FPV influencer on YouTube, Matt Pachout is one of the first, I probably murdered his name, is one of the first people that pops up. And I like this dude a lot. He seems to be super genuine. He has a lot of good videos, some real good information in there. I don't feel like he's trying to shill you any one thing. He's just presenting the information about the drones that he has. It actually looks like his last upload was last year. His channel blew up pretty quick, so hopefully he's okay and just kind of over YouTube or something. But after that, we get to what most of you would consider an influencer. Those channels with over 100,000 subs that are generally cinematographers that found FPV, and they found a new way to sell you LUT packs and color palettes. Now, this isn't everyone. Looking this up, I found this dude Kai, and he seems super cool. Just somebody that enjoys his life, enjoys his job, and is just making some fun videos about it. I enjoy content like this for sure. But there are some channels out there that'll have affiliate links to every damn drone, and every drone is the best drone that you can buy this week. And that's just preying on the community. FPV can be super overwhelming when you start, and some people don't have anybody in real life that they can talk to about this or get recommendations from, so they'll turn to YouTube, and they want to be able to trust that person presenting the information that they're going to be getting a good deal and get something that's actually going to work for them. You know what I mean? Capitalism aside, is it morally okay to try to push somebody something that you know is a shitty product just because you make a little bit of money off that? And on the flip side, is it morally okay to try to sell a new pilot at an almost $600 drone, knowing full well that shit's going to break the first time they fly it and they're not going to be able to fix it? Or the promise of unlimited gig work if you take my Part 107 course right now. Speaking of that, now, Part 107 can be a divisive subject, but I think most people will agree it's a pretty useless test in terms of safety. Pretty sure it was just made up by the FAA to get the government off their back. I mean, why else would I need to know airplane wing loads for my tiny whoop? Why am I studying METARs and anti-collision light specifications when I'm filming a rap video 5 feet off the ground in a gymnasium? If this was truly about safety and making sure pilots knew proper precautions while they were flying drones, the test would be wildly different. This is simply a general aeronautics test repurposed for FPV Part 107. It'd be like taking your fucking spaceship driving test to drive a go-kart, you know what I mean? But the government said, fuck you, drone pilots, come lick these boots, and the grifters lined up to get a piece of it. A quick search of 107 prep courses yields hundreds of results. This is for you to pay money so you can study for a test that you got to pay more money for. Mind you, the FAA has all this information for free online. They do have free test preps for the test, but that's not good enough. You got to give some motherfucker $200 so you can take their course with a lot of the same information that you can get for free, or you're gonna die. Part 107 test coming up. Got you down? Well, don't worry, my friends. Here at Crazy Bot's Wacky 107 Emporium, we got you covered. We got 107s, we got 108s, we even got a couple 103s from last year. With the FAA constantly changing its outdated rules, it's hard to know which study guide to use, but I got you here. BOTGRINDER's 107 Wacky Emporium. All you need to do is give me $200 and I will give you access to my top secret website, google.com, and access codes for you to find all the information you need to pass your 107. Just give me money and you pass. Not guaranteed. Fuck you. Now, I'm not saying all of these are scams at all. Test preps can be invaluable for people that are bad at studying or just need a different way to learn besides trying to memorize information on a screen. But the amount of paid courses that have outdated, recycled information, not even presented in a new way, is kind of staggering. Everyone wants a piece of this and they have no shame in taking your money while providing you nothing. I know far too many people that have Part 107s and have never done a gig in their life, or did one maybe and didn't like it, didn't get a call back. And on the other hand, I know quite a few people who have done gigs for major sporting teams, major car brands, and had no 107, because the director of photography usually doesn't give a shit about any of that unless insurance gets involved. And this is just showing you how little that test actually matters when you're starting out doing things. Now, I'm not saying everybody should just go fly willy-nilly wherever they want, whenever they want, but I'm saying there is a big difference between memorizing information and reciting it later, and knowing what to do when somebody jumps in front of your quad and you have a split second to either disarm or punch out. The influencers, I hate that fucking word by the way. The influencers are here as long as social media is here, and companies will continue using whatever tactics they need to try to sell their stuff, including using people for unpaid promotion. It's easy to point the finger at individuals and call them sellouts, but if you dig a little bit deeper, they're usually getting played themselves. My advice would be support the creators and the companies that support the community. FPV is growing, and it's growing in kind of weird ways. It's no secret I think DJI is taking us in the wrong direction with forced remote ID before it's even implemented federally, taking the Apple model of you only use our stuff with our stuff and nobody else's, so you don't get any tiny whoops, and just general practices that are against the spirit of FPV. There's no shortage of people wanting a piece of that sweet, sweet drone content money, but a lot of them lack the creativity or morals to have any decent content outside of affiliate linked reviews. Those tell you to buy whatever makes them the most money while they themselves are off flying something else entirely. This isn't unique to FPV. Greed can cloud people's judgment and their empathy. I rarely recommend stuff on my channel because normally if I get products, I only play with it for like that day and I make a video. And I'd feel really bad if I was like, yo, this shit is fucking tight, and then somebody, went out and bought it for $300 and it broke right away because I didn't fucking give it enough testing, And again, there's nothing wrong with review channels. We need those. We need to know what's up. You just need to be able to trust the person that's giving you the information. And when every single drone that you show is the best drone you can buy right now, then you really got to question what the fuck these people are trying to sell you. As I always say, it's the people that make the scene, and we have a lot of amazing, honest, talented people in the FPV scene. I would hate to see it turn into a gross mess of affiliate links and untrustworthy YouTubers who don't give a shit about the future of the hobby as long as they're getting paid. FPV is pretty amazing. It has helped a lot of people out of dark places. Let's keep this hobby honest as we can and call out shitty practices when we see them. You are in this too. You can help shape the future of our hobby. Okay, that's all I have to say, except I promise next time will be better. Oh, and also, check this out. Speaking of money, this is my Patreon. I don't do ad revenue. I don't do affiliate links. I don't do none of that. I just have a Patreon. So if you fuck with this channel, consider checking out my Patreon for a month or two. And if you liked me yelling at you today, you can watch this video where I yell at you about what the fuck happened to FPV. Okay, bye.